There are people watching this video right now who will never worry about money again. Not because they inherited it, not because they got lucky, because of something they already do without realizing it. The quietest sign on this list is the one almost nobody notices in themselves. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you stand. Here are 12 signs you will never be poor. Welcome back. This is the channel where we break down how ordinary people build extraordinary wealth, one habit at a time. Stick around till the end, because the last sign on this list is the one that changes everything else on it. You treat every dollar like it has a job to do. Broke people spend first and see what's left. You decide what's left before you spend. Every dollar that comes in already has an assignment, whether that's bills, growth, or freedom. Money without a job disappears. It leaks out through subscriptions you forgot about, small purchases that felt harmless, meals out that added up without you noticing. Money with a job multiplies, because it's sitting somewhere working instead of waiting to be spent. You stopped asking, "Can I afford this?" and started asking, "What does this dollar need to be doing right now?" That single shift in language changes everything downstream of it. Because a dollar with a job rarely gets wasted. You understand debt is a tool, not a personality trait. Poor people see debt as who they are, something shameful, something permanent, something that defines them. Wealthy people see debt as something they use and then put down. You've learned the difference between debt that buys a feeling and debt that buys an asset. A car loan for a car that loses value the moment you drive it off the lot is debt that buys a feeling. A loan that helps you buy a rental property, fund equipment for a business, or finance an education that increases your earning power is debt that buys an asset. One makes you poorer every month you carry it. The other pays you back, sometimes for decades. You're not afraid of leverage. You're afraid of leverage with no plan behind it, which is a very different fear than the one most people carry around debt in general. You automated the boring part. Willpower is a terrible long-term strategy, because willpower runs out, gets tired, gets distracted by a bad day or a good mood. You know this, so you removed yourself from the equation entirely. Savings, investing, bill payments, it all happens on a schedule whether you're motivated that day or not. The people who stay broke are waiting to feel ready. Waiting for the month where they'll finally start saving, seriously. Waiting for the raise that will make budgeting easier. You didn't wait. You built a system that doesn't need you to feel anything. And a system beats motivation every single time, because motivation is a mood and a system is a machine. You know your numbers without checking an app. Not the exact cent, but close enough that you could say it out loud in a conversation. Your rough net worth, your monthly burn rate, your runway if the income stopped tomorrow. People who stay poor avoid looking at their numbers, because looking feels like it might confirm something they don't want to know. People who get rich can recite their numbers the way an athlete recites their stats, because those numbers are the scoreboard of a game they're actually trying to win. What gets measured gets managed, and you just apply that simple idea to yourself. Instead of only applying it at work, you've made at least one investment that scared you a little. Not reckless, just real. The kind where you felt your stomach drop slightly when you clicked confirm. The first time you put money into something with no guarantee attached to it, you learned something no course, no book, and no video can teach you, which is how you actually behave when money is on the line. Broke people wait for certainty that never comes, and it never comes because certainty isn't part of how investing works. You learned that comfort and growth don't share a room, and that the discomfort you felt in that moment was actually a sign you were doing something right, not something wrong. This next part matters more than people expect. So, if you've made it this far, you're exactly the person this video is for. If you want a simple way to see where you actually stand financially in under 5 minutes, stay until the end and I'll show you the free tool I personally use. You negotiate the big things and ignore the small ones. You don't waste energy haggling over a coffee, arguing over $1 off a menu item, or clipping every coupon in sight. But your salary, your rate, your contract terms, the equity you're offered, the terms of a deal, you push on those every single time, because that's where the actual money lives. Poor people fight small battles daily and lose the war slowly. You've learned that a 10% raise compounds for decades through every future raise. Every bonus calculation, every retirement contribution based on salary. while a discount on a latte just disappears the moment you finish the coffee. You surround yourself with people who talk about building, not just buying. The people around you shape what feels normal without you even noticing it happening. If everyone you know talks about the newest phone, the newest car, the next vacation, that becomes your finish line too, almost by osmosis. You started spending time, even just a little, around people who talk about assets, income streams, ownership, and equity, and slowly, without a dramatic decision or a single moment you can point to, that became your finish line instead. You didn't become a different person overnight. You just changed who you were standing next to. You've said no to a lifestyle upgrade you could technically afford. Anyone can spend up to their limit. That part takes no skill at all. Almost nobody chooses not to, especially when the bigger house, the nicer car, or the better vacation is sitting right there within reach. You upgraded your income over time and kept your life roughly the same, and quietly funneled the gap into something that pays you back instead of something that just costs you more every month. That gap between what you earn and what you spend is the entire game, and it always has been. Most people close that gap with spending the moment it opens. You close it with ownership instead. You think in decades, not paychecks. A bad month doesn't wreck you because you were never playing a one-month game to begin with. You've actually done the math on what a small, boring, consistent habit turns into over 20 years, and seeing that number change how urgent everything felt, in a good way. Poor thinking is reactive, responding only to whatever bill or emergency shows up this week. Your thinking has a horizon far past this week, past this year, and even past this decade. You've built at least one thing that makes money while you sleep. It doesn't have to be big yet, and it probably isn't yet. A small investment, a side project, a piece of content, a rental room. Anything that isn't trading your hours directly for dollars in a one-to-one exchange. The moment you built your first one, even a tiny one, you understood that income doesn't have to equal time. And that realization alone is worth more than whatever small amount of money that first project actually made you. You ask for help instead of pretending you already know. Broke pride keeps people quiet in rooms where a single question could have saved them years of trial and error. You ask the obvious question anyway. You admit out loud what you don't understand, even when it feels uncomfortable to say. Every person who got ahead of you did it partly by not being too proud to ask someone who already knew the answer, instead of stumbling through it alone for years just to protect their ego. And finally, you no longer see money as the goal. You see it as a tool for something else entirely. Time, options, security, the ability to say no to things that don't serve you. The moment money stopped being the finish line and started being fuel for something bigger, everything about how you handle it changed, quietly and permanently. People who stay poor are chasing a number that keeps moving further away. You're building a life, and the number just follows behind it, almost as an afterthought. How many of these did you recognize in yourself? Tell me in the comments, honestly, even the ones that stung a little. And if you want a simple way to start tracking where you actually stand financially, drop a comment with the word track, and I'll send you the free net worth tracker I use myself, no strings attached.